I am Maria Garcia de Fleury. November 15, the church celebrates Saint Albert the Great, a German who was born around the year 1193 and died on November 15, 1280. He is the patron saint of scientists and whom many call a giant of science and theology. St. Albert had many difficulties studying, so one night he tried to flee from the school where he was studying by a ladder that he hung on the wall. He narrates that when he got to the top, he met the Virgin Mary who said to him, Albert, why instead of running away from school, don't you pray to me that I am the cause of wisdom? If you have faith and trust, I will give you a prodigious memory. And so you know that it was I who gave it to you. When you're going to die, you will forget everything you knew. Albert entered to study law at the University of Padua in Italy, and there he found his vocation to enter the order of St. Dominic, the Dominicans. When his father found out that he intended to become a friar, he was enraged and went looking for him to get out of the convent. But he did not succeed. Albert was happy to belong to the order of preachers. He was a great teacher in several German cities. He was a professor in Paris, which was by then the intellectual center of Western Europe. The number of students who attended his classes made him to give classes even in the public squares, which today bears his name. It's the Maubert Square, name that comes from Magnus Albert. He was the provincial superior of the Dominicans in Germany, rector of the new university in Cologne, Germany. There he had among his disciples a young friar named Thomas Aquinas. Albert was an authority on physics, geography, astronomy, mineralogy, chemistry, and biology. He rewrote the works of Aristotle to make them acceptable in the eyes of Christian critics and theologians. So he was the initiator of the scholastic system which his disciple St. Thomas Aquinas perfected. As bishop, St. Albert took a very active part in the Ecumenical Council of Lyon because for him, teaching about Jesus Christ and clarifying doubts about him was something of the utmost importance. St. Albert the Great, despite having died in 1280, rises in the 21st century as a model of believing scientist. He did not conceive of any conflict between science and religion. All the elements of his life show this eternal novelty. He united in his person the theologian and the mystic, that is, the theory with the experience of God, the bishop and the friar, that is, the one who governed with the one who makes simple life community, the wise and the humble saint. He also stood out as a scientist because of the observation and experimentation. To all this, he added a series of mystical writings about God and how to understand Him. St. Albert studied, investigated, analyzed everything in terms of preaching God. That is why he used both natural science, biology, botany, chemistry, zoology, archaeology, as well as philosophy and theology. A few days before he died, he forgot everything he knew. And then he remembered the words of our Blessed Mother that had said to him, so that you know that it was I who gave you all your knowledge. When you're going to die, you will forget everything that you know. From the hand of the Mother of God, this great sage of humanity knew from a young age that with God we always win.